Welcome back, and thank you for joining us on our second official episode of Unbreakable Mothers. I'm here with my dear friend, Julia Gray, and today we're going to dive into a couple topics about communication and co-parenting. Let's get started.
Erin, thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you for
What
joining
a pleasure.
me. I'm excited.
Tell me, what are we discussing today?
Communication, that's huge in any relationship, right? But especially as a mother when you have children. So what do you think of when you think of communication as a mother?
Communication is so important for your kids and for the well-being of your relationship. It's been my observation that people lack in communication even while they're married and forget about it when they're already parted ways. So it is very important to be on the same page even though you potentially disagree.
Absolutely. You need to be able to work through disagreements. You're never going to...
Never in front of your children.
Align with people 100%.
That's right.
And yes, in front of your children is... I think there's kind of a wide spectrum where for some parents, that's not even an option. But some parents, it happens daily, right?
Yes, I actually wanted to bring one situation that I know of. I have a friend
Absolutely.
who does not necessarily agree with everything with her husband.
Okay.
And the husband actually just talks in front of the kids, hey, this is not right. This is not how it should be done. Perhaps maybe not in such nice ways.
Right.
And then kids don't take mother as an authority anymore. But let's not forget that both parents have to come up with resolution of a conflict or any situation. Hey, can I go get boba? No, you shouldn't be having this much sugar. Well, I'm going to go ask dad because he's going to lie to me.
That's manipulative.
Yeah.
What you're teaching your children then is manipulation. And I know it can be difficult to align with someone who you might not be so aligned with, but for the sake of your kids though, right? Because you don't want your children to be manipulative or think that it's okay to speak to each other or anyone in that not so nice manner maybe that you mentioned.
Yeah, and this can affect the children who are already in the marriage that had been broken as well.
Yes.
I've observed so much that whenever parents part ways and something negative is being said from one parent on behalf of another parent, and then the child is really confused, the child doesn't know who to trust.
It's stressful.
It is.
I can say I don't have that in my experience with my daughter. Because there is not contact with her father. But as a child, I had that where my parents were kind of, mom said one thing about dad and dad said one thing about mom. And it was always a constant struggle. There was unnecessary drama.
How did you feel about it though? How did you feel about your dad?
Torn. I to this day in my 30s, it's something I'm working through, right? We all have things from our childhood, and I think I'm starting to recognize it affected me more than I maybe realized initially, But absolutely, as a mother now, to see it.
So whenever negative things were said about your mom, how did you feel about her then?
In the moment, negative.
Yeah.
I was easily influenced. So if negative things were being said, I would question. And then vice versa, I'd go home to mom, who was my main caretaker, my main provider, my primary parent. And then I'd feel that way about dad. Well, dad doesn't do, and it was a constant back and forth. And that's hard for kids. They're already growing and experiencing these new emotions and how to cope with social situations at school and friends. Kids aren't always nice, I feel like at home you need to have
Unity.
that strong foundation, unity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, I want to tell you a story from my childhood. My dad passed when I was 2.
So sorry.
And I had a stepdad since I was maybe 4.
Yes.
And I've never heard anything negative said about my father.
I love that.
Nothing. Everybody that I've ever met in the neighborhood, anybody that knew of him or knew who he was, they always gave me such lovely feedback. And they said, wow, Julie, your dad really loved you.
He was an amazing man.
He was a great man, and he was so nice and kind man. And they gave me so much love and reassurance, knowing that I'm so proud who my dad was, even though he's not here, but he's still with me, still shedding his love on me, even though he's not present. And even though I was already not affiliated with the family, I guess, but they were still invited to all of my birthdays. I was still hanging out with my grandma. I would still go spend nights with them on weekends. She would take me on trips, and everybody was invited. My stepdad and my family from my dad's side, and everybody got along. And I just had this sense of like, wow, I have this big loving family.
Yeah.
And that was amazing.
That's beautiful. Honestly, it gave me chills when you were talking about that because I lacked that growing up. And I feel like that shows in how secure you are as a woman and as a mother. You do. You have this force to you when you walk in a room. You're very powerful. And that was a huge reason why I wanted you on this podcast. But I have to think that attributes to it, that the way that you were brought up in such a village and a teamwork, mentality, that had to have laid a nice foundation for you.
Thank you. It did. But with that being said, I want to make sure that my daughter feels the same amount of love.
Absolutely.
So
it's a high standard.
Whenever her dad and I parted ways, I would never want to put her in a situation where, oh, I don't want him in the picture. No.
You don't want her uncomfortable.
Like no, she has a dad. He's alive. He's well. He's a nice, kind man. I want her to have a relationship with him. I want her to feel that both of her parents love and support her. And potentially one day she will feel that her family grew and not crumbled apart.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. It's the make it or break it moments, right? Nobody's relationship is perfect. Everybody has stuff, but it's how you navigate through it and come together in unity and like face it together, right?
Yeah.
I love that. And I think you're doing an amazing job with with Maddie. She's very smart, very respectful.
She's a model. Did we know she's a model? She's a pageant queen.
I had the pleasure of modeling with her. I feel famous.
That's right.
She did so great. Yeah. I mean, the presence she has at her age to not be nervous, you've definitely empowered her as well.
She modeled in New York Fashion Week last year.
Girl.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was great.
Did she love it?
She loved it.
That was something she wanted to do, or was that something that you guys kind of try this?
No, she wanted to do it. And I really kind of never enforce anything that she doesn't want. Good. I want to make sure to establish that, hey, she has her own life path.
Absolutely.
And I have my own. And just because I didn't become, I don't know, a gymnast,
right,
doesn't make me, hey, go be a gymnast.
That's beautiful, though.
Make sure to ask her, hey, what do you want? And she's like, okay, I want to go in a theater. But this semester, she doesn't want to go in a theater. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You'll find something else you'll want to do.
Try different things. That's how you find your passions, right?
Yeah.
And she's young to be trying these things, So if she can figure out what fuels her soul at an early age, the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
I want to add perhaps more on the communication in the family that's no longer a unit.
Absolutely. Pick it back up.
Yeah. I want to highlight how important it is to communicate, even though the marriage is no longer a marriage. And as an example of myself, before making any decisions, I always make sure to consult with Maddie's dad about any decision that have to be done, whether it's medical, whether it's the pageant, whether it's signing her up for the training, signing her up for anything. I make sure and I'm like, hey, are you okay with this? Because he's going to have to take her too on days when it's his turn.
It's a commitment.
It is.
For you both?
Yeah. And then we decide, okay, yeah, this is acceptable. And then, hey, is this acceptable? How much we have to contribute towards it? Okay, sounds good. Yes, sounds reasonable. So it is very important because you're not the sole decision maker, even though you kind of are, but you're really kind of not.
That's huge of you to say, though, because I have a lot of friends in relationships, and whether they're married or just dating, have children, don't, you see this kind of power play and you mentioned control. Like, it's a decision for the two of you to make. You would be upset if he made a decision and didn't ask you. It's just a common decency thing, not even just communication.
Yeah.
The golden rule, do unto others as you'd want done to you, But that's beautiful that you guys communicate.
Yeah, and I had a friend who parted ways with her significant other a while ago, and she complained to me, hey, he doesn't want to pay for karate lessons. But I'm wondering to myself, did she even ask if he wants the child to go to karate lessons? Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't afford it. Maybe he cannot.
You never know.
Maybe he cannot attend or bring him there. But it's so important to be on the same page and to discuss prior to committing to anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're not the only person that's going to be involved in this.
And that really just goes into being not selfless, but not being selfish, right? And thinking for your daughter.
Yeah.
And then what's first and foremost, going to make her happy. So if she doesn't want to do gymnastics, then you don't have to do it, babe. You know?
That's right.
Number 2 is, are you both on the same page? Do you both want her to do gymnastics? You know? I think a lot of people just get lazy these days and they want to make the executive decision instead of taking the time to do all those steps, you know?
I want to highlight the importance of not diminishing one's authority in child's eyes.
Yeah.
I would like to bring up the situation that happened several years ago. I was visiting a friend's house and their daughter had to go to swimming lessons and she hated it. She was crying. Yeah, she was crying, Mom, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Aww.
And I was like, well,
baby.
She clearly doesn't want to go. Why are you forcing her? And mother's like, no, she has to go. And I'm like, well, she seems to hate it. Like, why are you forcing her?
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though. I shouldn't have said this in front of the kid. Because now the kid is questioning the authority of a parent.
How big of you, though, to recognize, hey, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that.
Well, it had been brought
love
up to
that.
me. Somebody said, hey, don't tell this in front of my kid.
Yeah.
If you want, we can talk about it, behind my kid.
Right.
And I thought to myself, wow, this makes so much sense because this is authority figure in child's eyes.
Yes.
This is the person that makes decisions on their behalf and for their life.
Right.
And it is so important not to diminish that in the child's eyes.
Right.
But this happens daily. I have friends there whose marriages, while in marriage, mother and father don't particularly agree on something. So in front of the kids, they start
Bickering.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they cannot agree on something. And a child's like trying to figure out, hey, who's the authority here? Subconsciously, of course.
Well, but then they're probably, put yourself in that child's shoes. They probably don't see any authority figure. They probably feel very lost because mom and dad are both caught up in it, you know? So that's got to be a level of like a lack of security in and of itself. You know what I mean?
Or whenever dad is very strict and mom is not strict. And so...
And if you're doing every other weekends, if it is a split home, you're living literally 2 different lives for this poor young child, you know?
And in one household, the child's deprived of sweets. And in another household, it's whatever you want.
Yeah. And just for their bodies alone, the difference in intake, not just the mental, but like physical too.
Yeah, but this will be actually reflected later on in life.
Yeah.
The child might have some kind of eating disorders
or something.
Or thinking, okay, there's going to be time when sweets are not allowed, so then we'll be hiding them or doing something weird with them.
It does. It harbors or grows these negative habits.
Yeah.
Because sweets aren't horrible in and of themselves, just moderation with anything,
That's
right? And a kid is going to want sweets. Like that's a given, right?
Yeah.
But moderation, you don't want your child overeating or eating unhealthy things either. Moderation's huge.
Yeah. So back to the communication topic.
Yeah.
There's also been a situation where a mother signed her son for a trip. And
trips are big because you're leaving,
Yeah, but here's the thing. She said she bought the tickets. She goes to father while it's all done. You the one taking your son. And he's like, what?
I didn't pack.
I didn't. First of all, I'm not even interested.
That's not my thing.
I'm not going. I don't want to. I don't care about it.
It's a control thing. Though.
Yeah.
If the mother in that situation, I have no clue who you're talking about. In that situation, if the mother wanted the child to do that and wanted to do it with them, then they would just go. But to put it onto somebody else without even really giving them the courtesy of, do you want to do this?
Or are you even available that day?
That's like instigating. And you see a lot of that in relationships. And that goes to the communication too. There's a ton of ways to communicate. Not all of them are healthy, you know?
That's right.
And if people do that, that's one thing. But when little eyes are always watching, that's something bigger. And you capitalized on, you know, it might just be a little bickering here in the kitchen, but that later goes down to maybe anorexia or bulimia or something for that child. Who knows? You know what I mean? That's how these generational problems occur. I don't think anyone notices it when it's happening, right? You kind of reflect later on.
But because you're also in this generational cycle, it's kind of comfortable for you because that's what your grandma had. That's what your mom
That's
had.
all you know.
That's all you know. Okay, so yeah.
And it's scary to break out of the norm, right?
Yep.
So scary to do something different, but something that you believe's right.
Yeah.
You know, I can resonate with that very much.
I also wanted to bring up the situation with a friend who has recently been coming through divorce, and their divorce been dragging for maybe over a year.
Jeez.
So mine took 11 months, and
It's a process.
it was peaceful parting ways.
Good.
To the point that the kids didn't know.
Didn't even realize.
No.
I can honestly say I've never heard that. Any divorce story I've ever heard is usually like a war story, you know?
I couldn't have that. There's no need, because I know it's going to take from the time we parted ways till the time we're settled, or till the time we even move out.
Right.
It might take longer, and there's no need to make the child stress for that year, or even more so.
But how sweet of you, because...
It wasn't easy.
Oh, right. No.
It had to be done.
You had the control to do that, though.
And I had to cry so she doesn't see. And we had to fight so she doesn't see.
Yeah.
And can you imagine there's still holidays and everybody's still just doing their thing and showing up and still having Thanksgiving together.
But you're holding that value that you just said a few moments ago, that, you know, I had this beautiful upbringing, and I attribute a lot to that upbringing and how important it is for you to provide that to your daughter. And I think in any separation, on our last episode, we mentioned kind of guilt to an extent. And I think the way that you've walked into this, like you seem very free, very at peace.
Yeah, because I don't carry any burdens, guilt,
correct,
hate.
I have chills so hard right now. Look at my tattoos. Seriously, you have this peace, and it's unshakable. You know, there's nothing that really rattles you. And I see you go through some trials and tribulations, but you handle them really well, and you're providing that for your daughter. You're giving her that structure.
Thank you.
And as she's going to be a woman one day, you don't have a son, you have a daughter. So I say to that effect, you're raising a strong woman too. That's powerful. That's so beautiful.
Thank you for your feedback.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your experience.
But here's the thing. I want to get back to this friend that's been getting a divorce for over a year now. It's because her and her former husband cannot come to agreements. And she feels like he's doing something wrong, and he probably...
He might be.
He might be, but she might be also taking it that way.
She might be.
She might be.
Takes two to tango.
That's correct. That's correct.
And it's always big to look at, how could I have handled this differently?
Yeah.
That takes a big person.
So whenever he requests, hey, can I hang out with kids on a random day? And she, for herself, it's probably better if she just like, yes, go ahead, take them, because she probably needs rest. She's like, no,
it's my day.
This is my day. This is not acceptable. No, I'm not going to do it. But
I know it. I know it so well,
But
though.
why? Because you being hard, he's going to be hard. You're going to be hard again.
Yeah.
And it's just cycle that's never going to end.
And who gets hurt?
But what if for a second you were like, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
And then he might be like, well, you know, she was flexible with me. Okay, you go ahead.
So give and take.
It happens with me. And there were times that, you know, I might be asked from my former spouse, hey, are you available that day, even though it's my day, but I have something planned? Are you available? And I'm like, yes, no problem. Yeah. But also, I want to, on the next week, I have something in the evening.
Help
He's
each
like,
other.
no problem. You help me, I help you. And I'm like, wow, this is so good.
Beautiful.
This is so
it's
good.
It's a teamwork.
It is teamwork.
But you're right. People get almost spiteful. I have seen couples where they won't let the other parent see the child on like Father's Day with the father or Mother's Day with the mother.
But why?
But it's Mother's Day. Why do you want, or vice versa? Like, it's their day. Who cares what the schedule is? Who cares what's court ordered or planned? It's their day. Let them have it.
Yeah.
You know. But it's our own egos and pride and things that we need to work on.
Whenever it came time for me to decide, hey, which holiday we're going to celebrate with whom, I was like, I'm not going to sign any of this. We're just going to see that day.
Everyone's invited.
We're just going to see, hey, is this your week? Is this my week? Okay, maybe last year it happened to be that you celebrated this holiday. Maybe you'll be more flexible this year. I don't know. We'll see in a situation. But I'm not going to sign a paper that commits me to something and then I have to stick to it and celebrate, I don't know, 3 Thanksgivings in a row.
Yeah, no, you should always alternate. There should always be a give and take. Circumstances change. Jobs change, career paths, life choices. You should be able to
Dreams.
You should be able to talk to each other and help each other to achieve that, because by you achieving your dreams, you're going to give Maddie a better life.
That's correct.
And you're going to show Maddie that she can achieve her dreams. I have such goosebumps. This stuff inspires me. Like, these are our little girls we're talking about, and we're watering the soil. We're watering them, you know. It's a beautiful thing. You have a very good situation in your co-parenting.
Yeah,
and
but it didn't happen by accident. Let's not forget that.
no, you definitely put the work in.
It's a lot of work.
A lot.
But it's not just one way. It's both ways that are working on it.
Absolutely.
You know, both parties that are participating. There's never been time that we didn't talk to each other.
Right.
Even though it was scrappy and it was hurtful, we still came together and decided. We didn't fight in courts. We decided together, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the best way of splitting the properties. This is the best way of handling things.
Absolutely.
Let's go handle this paperwork together. It was never like, I'm done.
We're
Figure
enemies.
this out yourself.
Yeah.
Never.
No.
And for the record, we did not part ways because we hated each other. We just figure out that
Different paths.
we are on a different paths and there's no need to hold anyone back or for anyone to suffer. And that's okay. That happens sometimes.
Absolutely. Sometimes when you stay too long in a situation you're not meant for, then it can get bad. So I think it's very beautiful and amicable how you guys are handling it, and just the love and compassion you guys still have for each other through that commonality with your daughter.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, even if there was any bad, you said there wasn't, but if there was, you guys made a beautiful, smart, intelligent little girl, and you're working together to build her into that woman.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget that I still have a stepdaughter who I basically raised since she was 10. She lived with us the whole time. And she's an adult now, and she's married already. And
She's
her own
married?
family. She's married, yeah.
And do you still, if you don't mind me asking, do you have contact with her?
Absolutely. And not only we have contact, we're still, we still have a lovely relationship. And I'm so grateful for that. I was really concerned that I might lose that. And I'm so glad I didn't.
Oh, but you know what? I have to think that had to do with the way you handled the situation, you and him, you know, because oftentimes people do separate, and just out of awkwardness or respect, they think they're trying to respect the other parent or loyalties, whatever it is. But I've got to think that the way you two handled that kind of led the way for her to also walk into it with an open heart. That's beautiful, though, because she's older, right?
Yeah.
So she makes her own choices.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad you guys have that relationship.
And I really kind of hope that this inspires others to handle it in a very amicable way. There's no need to fight. There's no need to trash talk on another parent.
Absolutely.
The other parent probably also never wanted to get a divorce.
And is struggling too.
Yeah, and is hurt and is,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people have a lot of resentment towards each other. And the problem is that the resentment happened because of high expectations. You know,
Expectations.
we
There's
just
that
expected
word.
of a person to
Yeah.
be who they were not.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, well, that's not acceptable way.
Right.
So, and in my previous relationship, I don't think we had great communication. And for that, I've had a lot of resentment. And I was very sour. And instead of trying to resolve it somehow, I'd be like, okay, well, then I'm not going to hang out with you as much. Okay. Well,
Avoidance.
yeah. Or I'm going to be a little bit more spicy than usual.
Spicy.
Yeah. Or I'm going to choose to go on a trip with friends. But it doesn't solve anything.
No, it adds. It's a snowball effect. And then the resentments grow from there.
Yeah.
But that's so beautiful that you can see that you learned from this experience with Maddie's father, you know, that maybe you guys didn't have the greatest communication. And it sounds like you take a lot of accountability in what you could have done differently.
Correct.
You're not a blame game girl. And I love that about you. You're not like, oh, he this, he ever.
No.
I've never heard you say anything negative. You're always like, well, maybe we could have done this. And it's very, I don't want to say strategic, but you're very insightful. Like you look at it from different ways.
Thank you. And from that, I learned, and going further, I'm trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. So whenever we have a dispute in current relationship, we try to resolve it in a very amicable ways, without fights, without screaming, without, you know, throwing hissy fits or ignoring each other, which is my understanding that could have been prior relationship prior to me.
Yeah.
So, but there's
habitual almost.
Yeah, there's no, but here in the very beginning of my current relationship, instead of handling a dispute, I just went on a trip. I was like, oh,
choose peace.
You want to be like that? I'm out. And I went to
a little
New York.
passive aggressive.
Yeah, and then I went to Key West.
And you lived your best life, as you should.
And I sure did. But did that solve the situation? No.
The problem was there when you returned.
It sure has.
Were you a little more decompressed to handle it, though?
Yes, absolutely.
That's okay.
Okay, yes, that's fine. But now I don't need to decompress. I don't need to run away.
You don't need
because
to run.
I know that if I will make a step forward, I'm going to be met halfway. I don't have to run or chase that. So that's been great.
And because you took that step, it wasn't necessarily as scary as you thought it would be, right? So now you're not as scared to maybe initiate that next time.
Well, I initiated, but you just don't know how the person's going to react, right?
And you can't control that.
Because the person can say, well, okay, well, thanks for saying that, but still have a nice day.
Absolutely. You can never control someone's reaction, and that could vary from how they're feeling at that moment when you talk to them. But to be able to control your reaction, regardless of what they give you, whether they're yelling at you or they're receptive, for you to come back with that same peaceful, calm, okay, I understand, but this is how I feel. And when you're ready to talk, you have that stoic aura to you.
Thank you. But by the way, this is how I feel is the best way to approach it without saying, hey, this is what you've done. You got to say, hey, I feel.
The I statements. Oh, we're getting into therapy here now, girl.
Well.
Oh, I'm very familiar. No, absolutely. Because we project our feelings onto other people.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. We have to say, I'm feeling insecure.
Yeah.
I'm feeling
scared,
left out,
right. Ignored,
right.
unloved, unwelcomed,
neglected, whatever.
Exactly.
And to have enough awareness to know what you're feeling. That's something I'm really working on with my daughter right now. I know yours is a little older, but sometimes she'll throw a fit and I'm like, what's wrong? And she just looks at me like, I don't know. And it resonates with me because I'm like, you know what? Sometimes I feel like that. I am so worked up and I don't know. I have so many great things going for me. Why? Why am I so... And I guess it's just digging deeper and getting to those root things.
That's correct. There's been situations in which, how do we say it in the loveliest way possible? There's been situation in which a person may have thrown angers out from the simplest situation.
Mm-hmm.
The cup was in the wrong spot. The glasses were not where they belong. But the problem is, it's not the cup or glasses. The problem is that some kind of issue been piling up for days and weeks and months, maybe.
Absolutely. And just the way you breathe irritates them now.
That's correct. But it has nothing to do with you or your breathing. It just has something to do with the problem that's been eating them from the inside and them not letting it out or acknowledging it or ignoring it, sweeping it out of the rug, never talking it through with the person who needs the clarity.
Absolutely.
Or with a therapist, because the person himself or herself is experiencing that.
Yeah. I think not enough people do therapy these days, though. You're very insightful and you have all of these resources and tools readily available. I really wish that for everybody, you know, the moms, the dads. I feel like especially men don't
Well, men don't believe they need therapy.
They don't seek those things because it's a pride thing, and I get it, but like there's so much healing and so much to unpack, you know. So I think it's beautiful just to even speak openly about like, I'm in therapy. I go to therapy regularly, you know.
Absolutely. How can
I think
you
everyone
not?
should be in
Everyone
therapy.
should. How can you resolve a situation if nobody highlights it to you from side? Your friend cannot show it to you.
Or your family member, or you might not be receptive to hearing it from that person. You need an outside entity or someone who really has no stake in the game.
Someone who qualified.
A professional.
Yeah,
You need a professional. Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything else we want to talk about?
I think we did great.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you very much for joining me and opening up and sharing some vulnerable sides of your life in this kind of public setting. I really appreciate you taking that step with me and showing that vulnerability. You're a beautiful person.
Thank you. So are you.
Do I just do like a closeout? Thanks for... Okay. What do they normally say? Like, thanks for joining us. Tune in next time. Okay. YouTube, okay. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for our second episode of Unbreakable Mothers, again with my dear friend Julia Gray. We had some really great conversations today, and please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to our new channel on YouTube, and keep an eye out. We're going to have some more episodes airing shortly. Thank you.